king, they get some fire during cold winter. That's right.
You said this is one of the best preserved
But
temples?
yes, if you would like to take an example of a temple to study the four fundamental elements, Edfo should be the temple. Yes, why? Because it's in a good condition. Karnak is much bigger than that, but not in a good condition. We still did some doing some restoration, but this one we did some restoration, of course, but still exists 90% original stone.
Wow.
Didn't stop the chiselers.
So mud bricks, my friends, cannot last for a long time, eroded away. So that's why, as you can see, the Supreme Council of Antiquities in the Egyptian government, they adding this regular one to prevent the original more eroding away.
Like a layer on top.
Yes. So this is always the regular, it is restoration. Yes. The random one is original. Can you smell the burning?
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Smells like corn.
We burning any after they harvest, they burn everything. Yes. On the ground, because you know that the ashes give some fertility to the soil.
It smells like when I grill corn on the cob.
Yeah. I cannot as well identify that because I brought up in the city, not in the village. So that's why I cannot.
Well, I was born and raised in a huge city, but we still eat corn on the cob in the city.
Lost in the midway between Luxor and Aswan, right? 100 kilometers south of Edfo is Aswan, 110 kilometers north of Edfo, the city which we are going to visit tomorrow, inshallah, God willing, Luxor, right? The temple is dedicated to God Horus, and Horus is a falcon. So that's why we're going to see two statues representing Horus as a falcon, or in the tower, the human body and the head of a falcon. This temple again is a Greek temple, but it's different from different from Komombo and different from Phila. Phila and Komombo started by the Greek, completed by the Roman. But this one entirely Greek, which means built by the Greek, finished before the Roman came to Egypt. The temple built 237 BC and it is finished 57 BC. What does it mean? 180 years to construct the temple, right? You're going to find in a good condition the two huge towers, and you're going to find indentations to include the flagstaff. Here we can see two in each tower, right? And you're going to find the same traditional representation. The king holding the enemy by the hair, holding something rising position, smiting him in front of the god to whom the temple is dedicated. Here Horus, and Horus give him symbol of victory. And behind Horus as well you can see that is Hathor once again, right? The same scene typically repeated on the other side. The king smiting the enemy in front of Horus and Hathor. And this is considered, we call it duality is eternity, right? So this is similarity in the as well ancient Egyptian style of art, or the Greek Roman style of art. You are going to find above their heads two rows of different gods and goddesses, right? The right hand side tower, the first row, right, what you can see, the king standing, and what's above his head? Can you identify that? The crown of the south, which looks like champagne bottles, looks like bowling pins, right? In the same location on the other side, what you can see, the king standing, and above his head the different crown, red crown. The message is clear. They would like to say, I am Ptolemy, but I am the king of Upper and Lower Egypt, right? And they must do that respectively. What does it mean? This is the direction if you'd like to return back to Aswan, south. And if you'd like to go to Luxor and Cairo, north. So this is the north in this side, and this is the south. As you can see, the temple was in a very bad condition. Mariette, French archaeologist, who found the temple in a very bad condition, 1860, and people, they are living inside and at the rooftop. So the Supreme Council of Antiquities started to remove the villages. As you can see, the level of the streets Can you see the villages over there? We need as well to remove more houses because the sacred lake is supposed to be on the other side, right? The sacred lake where they're doing the purification, right? Mainly you're going to find the faces are profile. Why? Because they would like to say there is a conversation between the king and the god. The god as well bless the king gives offering to the god. So that's why mainly you're going to find the facial features profile, right? But in some cases, the ancient Egyptians, they were obliged to represent the whole face. And the first case, which you can see in here, you can see the left-hand side tower.
Oh, yeah.
You can see one of the enemy in the middle one only. They're representing him with the full face. Why that? Why this exception? Because the artist would like as well to say those enemies are scaring, afraid, frightening. How you can represent the facial features scaring while it's profile? Impossible. So that's why they're presenting one of them with full face to give us the message that everybody or all of them, they are scaring, afraid from the punishment, punishment of the king. And you're going to see they're raising their hands, asking him for mercy, but they're smiting them without any mercy. Right? Let's get inside to see. It means that here we used to have a door. Make sense? Yeah. And on the ground we have two hinges as well, where we have fire extinguishers. You can see here how massive it is. You can imagine how big the door. Yeah. Door made out of what? Wood. What kind of wood? Cedar wood. And then inlaid by gold, silver, and electrum. Electrum, a mix between gold and silver, right? So that's why it don't exist. So from now on, you're going to see each room separating from each other by a door. It could be a double door swaying open like this one, or it could be a single door once we get inside, right? When you're going to ask me what kind of door is that, it is a double door swaying up. But what about the thickness of it? If you look at those two recesses, right and left, can you see?
Yeah.
How thick is the door?
Yes.
And how big?
Wow.
How many persons they can open this door? At least 4 or 5. Why? Because this will be very well balanced and can be easily as well open and close. Why? Because it used to be surrounding the hinges by leather, and then they add oils to reduce the friction. So it can be easily open or closed. But how many times this door is open a year? Only 4 times a year. With Horus leaving his shrine and then visiting other temples. Because Horus, he gave a visit to his wife, goddess Hathor, in Dendera, which is 70 kilometers north of Luxor. Hathor, Horus, together, they go to visit the shrine of the mother goddess in Sila, right? Isis, Horus, Hathor, together in a huge celebration, they go to visit the shrine of god Osiris in Abydos. So between Osiris, Abydos, Dendera, Edfo, and Sila, those are connected shrines. The mess, the bond, ties them together. Right? So let us see that as well in the whole religion, or very important festival, celebrates this God, Horus, carrying on the shoulders, in the sacred boat, and at the same time in Dendera, some as well priests be carrying the sacred boat of goddess Hathor, and then they go to the river Nile and they put that in a big boat and then sit sail. Right? As soon as they are going to meet each other, they are coming as well to Edfo, and then they enter the temple and celebrate. So this is in here, the priest is carrying the statue of the gods on the shoulders. There in Dendera, goddess Hathor is carrying on the shoulders, and then they put the big one in the small one in the big boat. Please, can you see in here? This is the small boat, and then they put that in a big one, and then they started to set sail. In the same time, in here, the small boat of God Horus is in the big one, and then they set sail together, and then at the end they tied them together, and then they are entering the temple and celebrate. You can see the Egyptians, they are celebrating the appearance of those very important gods. Right? Here we can, as well, we have two different hollow pillars, like the previous one. This is the first one. We have a lot of big columns, and you can see the other one which got a short columns. What does it mean? It means that the ceiling is getting lower. Make sense? Alright. If you look at the floor as you go to the sanctuary or the Holy of the Holies, you get the feeling that the floor is getting higher. Why is that? Because we said everything for reason, not for as well granted. Because the ceiling in the temple symbolizes sky. Do you remember? So that's why they always decorate that by stars. And the floors symbolize the earth. Sky going down, earth going up, till the meeting point between the sky and the earth.
Oh, yes.
What we call the meeting point between the sky and the earth in English? Horizon. Speak English very well. Where you learn your Horizon. Can you go to the horizon, my friend?
No.
If anybody can go to the horizon, this is the symbolic way by which the ancient Egyptian temple is built. They built the house of the gods at the end, at the rail. Symbolic, the meeting between the sky and the earth, the ceiling and the earth. You get my point? Another thing important, if you look in here, you're going to find the temple getting progressively dark. Look at the open court, the sun, light everywhere. Look at the first hollow pillar. You can see a very big opening to allow the light to penetrate. But when you go to the second hollow pillars, you're going to find the opening getting smaller. What does it mean? The room is getting darker. Till you get inside the sanctuary or the Holy of the Holies, very dark room. So the message is clear. If you'd like to come to see the statue of the god, you are going to move from the known world to the unknown or obscure world, the world of the gods. Nobody knows what's going on. Only the king or high priest on his behalf. But after the king, he goes there and the gods are going to bless you. And after you have been blessed, you are going to move from the sanctuary to outside, which means after blessing, you are moving from darkness to
Light.
light, like the whole religion. The God leads us from darkness to light. Right? How we call it in the Holy Book of Quran? يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور.
No.
We are moving from darkness to light. Right? So, who decided to build the temple for that forest? They're going to find that is Adfo, his wife. She's holding his hand, introducing him to her husband, God's Horus. Right? Can you see the style of Horus here? Horus is the man. So that's why he's holding what? Stick. Like stuff of office. But Adfo, she's a lady. I'm not going to representing her holding stick. She's holding lotus flower, papyrus flower, etc. I'd like to build a temple to your Horus. What is the first thing you should do if you'd like to build a house to see the similarity? If you'd like to build a house, like that, for example, what's the first thing you should do?
Get permission?
What?
Permission?
First thing, you must ask your wife.
Well, that's exactly what she said.
Right? Permission.
All right, come on. Egyptian. Here, the king, as soon as he decided the place where I'd like to build a temple, in front of a goddess, her name is Goddess Sishan, goddess of dimension and measurement. She is going to decide the dimension of the temple by two ropes, one in her hand and the other one in the king's hand. They're going to do the measurement. Perimeter of the temple. How many long, width, floors, etc. Always in the presence of Horus, to whom the temple will be dedicated. Now I have the layout. I'd like to start the construction. One more step. Here you can see the king. He's throwing something on the ground on which the temple will be built. What do you think what he's throwing?
Sand.
Looks like sand, but those are natron salt. Why natron salt? Because the ancient Egyptians, they believed if you throw natural salt on the ground, you drive the evil spirit out of this area. Which we still do nowadays. Throwing the salt with the bride or the groom, right? Or washing the floor of our house by adding salt to the water because we thought absorb negative energy, right? Now, no more evil spirit. I'd like to start the construction, like any great project. Prime ministers, president, he must go to put that foundation stone. Look at here, what the king is doing. The king, he's carrying what? Bricks, by which the temple or go ahead signal, he put that foundation stone. Right? So, what is the first thing they should build? They should build the sanctuary or the Holy of the Holies. Right? And then, the Hall of Pillars. Open court. And what is the last? Two huge towers. Let us see how it looks like. It is a reconstruction by Mariette, French archaeologist, according to the dimension of the sacred wood carried by 31 priests. Right? So, this is as well how it looks like. But the original one, which used to be in here, were in Louvre Museum in France. Right? And behind that, you can see a very beautiful gray granite shrine. It looks like a metal from a distance, but this is highly polished granite, and this is made out of one piece. Right? That was found in the ruins of the temple built by the ancient Egyptians. But when the Greeks came, they found that in a good condition, so they put it in here in the sanctuary of the Holy Land. So this is considered the oldest part of the temple so far. Right? To whom the Rosetta Stone is dedicated. Do you remember?
Yeah.
The Rosetta Stone, it is nothing but thank you letter. The priests of Egypt, they thanking Ptolemy V, this guy, because he allowed them to build temples, exempt them from paying taxes. So that's why they started to engrave this thank you letter in a big stone, translated from ancient Egyptian language to ancient Greek language, which helped later on Jean-Francois Champollion deciphering the hieroglyphic 1822, and now we can read hieroglyphic as you read newspaper, and it is even computerized. Right?
How did you, so you know this is Ptolemy V because it says that in the...
You can see the cartouches.
Cartouche for his head.
Yeah, the cartouche. Each king got two cartouches. One birth name, the second one coronation name.
So Ptolemy V is his
Yes,
coronation name.
Ptolemy V, it is his birth name.
Oh.
Yes,
Okay.
but his coronation name is Epiphanes.
Oh.
But that's why we make it easier for you. So we said Ptolemy V. This classification not exist, by the way. So like as well, Ramses I, Ramses II, Ramses XI. Is the ancient Egyptians, they mentioned that? No. Each king got two names, birth name and coronation name, like the Pope. As soon as he became in charge, he got as well another name, right? So that's why we call it Ptolemy V. He is number 5 from the same family.
So,
But his name is Epiphanes.
so back then he wouldn't have called himself Ptolemy V?
No. He called himself Epiphanes.
Okay.
And he is, when he was young, his name was Ptolemy. Like now, as well, naming after each other.
Muhammad
Muhammad,
Jr.,
Muhammad,
Senior.
Muhammad. Yes, Muhammad. So that's why now the teacher in any Islamic country, when they said Muhammad stand up, 2/3 of the class are gonna stand up.
School.
C'est la mosquée, la mosqueta.
مسجد مسجد.
Yeah.
ما شاء الله ما شاء الله.
la banque. Banque.